So my name is Sharon Parento, and I am a realtor with Keller Williams. And I'm going to tell you that the number one thing that I encounter when I am door knocking our neighborhood is people saying, I would love to move, but have you seen our basement? Or our garage, or what about my crafts room or workshop? So all of these are really legitimate concerns, because I can tell you that decluttering can feel overwhelming. And we want to make sure that we provide you with the tools and the strategy to help you declutter your home, whether or not you're intending to sell. So that's not our purpose. We're not trying to sell you on our services. We're trying to help you to come to a place where you are happier in your life, whatever that looks like. So there I am, pre-COVID haircut. And as a realtor, one of my joys is to help people who feel stuck in their current circumstances, to get them unstuck, to get them thinking about where they would like to be ideally. And so that we bring to bear the services and the contractors so that people can make their real estate dreams come true, whatever that looks like for them. So I called our company the Smart Realty Solutions Company, because that is really the key, is creating those solutions. And I think one of the things that we excel at, Melissa and I and the other people we work with, are creating those out of the box solutions. Okay, so let's get started. Decluttering is a really stressful prospect for a lot of people. So we're going to go through an introduction that involves the high cost of clutter, so that we can really see what how it's dragging us down. We're also going to start talking into strategy. It's not just going to be about, oh, this is such a big problem. We don't want to leave you there. We want to bring you into a place where we actually give you some tools and strategies to be able to move forward. And there's also an opportunity to ask questions, and we're going to make sure that we get to your questions if you have them. So stay tuned, okay? So we have some other offers we want to make you aware of, including a really exciting community offer. And I don't want you to miss this. So please stay tuned to the end. We're going to be together about 45 minutes and then time for questions, okay? So there they are. Look at that couple. They don't look like they have a care in the world. Why? Because they've decluttered. So when I talk to people, lots of times clutter becomes an issue that they just keep pushing into the future. They can't face the emotional upheaval. They haven't figured out a practical solution of what to do with their surplus belongings, or maybe there's some physical constraints at work too that prevents them from really being able to act on their good intentions. Whatever it is that is holding them back, and we are going to spend a little bit of time diagnosing those blockages. What ends up happening is people push it off, they procrastinate in a sense, they delay, and then they are living in a home that no longer suits their needs, and yet they really haven't been able to figure out a way of getting out. So they feel trapped. They feel trapped by their circumstances, trapped by their home, and really clutter is the culprit. Clutter is the enemy. And so we are going to gather up our resources and we're going to do battle together. So I know that there's been a lot lately in the media. The last 2-3 years, we've been inundated with research about the high cost of clutter. And we can measure this in a couple of different metrics. Number one, the emotional costs that living in a home that is cluttered or not serving our needs can bring. It can be a real source of anxiety. And really, when we are facing this type of COVID situation, of being shut down and restricted as to where we can go, shouldn't our homes be a safe haven? Shouldn't they be the place where we find harmony and peace of mind? But instead, so often, they cause us stress and anxiety. So that's a big cost. And we can't really affix a number to it, but some of the other costs are very measurable. Things like losing items that we end up having to repurchase, or having penalties on bills because we can't find them and we don't pay them on time, or having to pay for a storage unit somewhere to hold our stuff. Uh, so there are some significant financial impacts, but for our conversation today, the most salient cost is living in a home that is bigger than you need and having to maintain it in terms of property taxes, utility, upkeep, all of those maintenance costs, even though you're only living in a small portion of it, because you need the rest of all of that to hold your stuff. So psychological, financial, practical considerations, all of these really factor into assessing the cost of living in a cluttered environment. So even things like that are really surprising, links to difficulty sleeping, depression, weight gain, all of these things, unbelievable. So in our culture now of lots of information, I know that much of what I'm going to be sharing with you won't come as a surprise. This isn't rocket science. I don't make any claims to genius. It's just really, we've packaged it in a way that we hope you find inspiring. So impressively, the #1 growing segment of the real estate market are self-storage units. So this is obviously commercial real estate, but in the US, this is a burgeoning business. And it seems that every new community, we start off with like a Starbucks and a Walmart and a self-storage place. Like those always seem to go hand in hand. So we know that this is something that is not unique to you. It is ubiquitous. Everywhere people are facing the reality that they have too much stuff. So this has spawned a lot of new television programs, even huge popularity of Marie Kondo and the life-changing habit of tidying up. All of these things. So we know it's a problem, okay? And the fact that you're joining us here today means that you either recognize that this is a concern now or it will be in the future. So kudos to you to decide to be here today. Like, that is awesome. You've made the decision to do something about it, even if it's just information gathering at this point, because I know that when you have the right information, it's going to inspire you to take action. And when your actions align with your intention, that's when we have huge results, no matter what the battle is, no matter what the challenge is. Okay. So this is so true. Don't we find that our cluttered environment can create us frustration and annoyance? I need another book on decluttering. Yeah, I hear you. I seem to be in a constant search for my classes, but I know there's other things too, more important things. So if you're finding that clutter is impacting on the quality of life, no matter what that looks like for you, we have help. Help is at hand. So some of the things we have to really think about is what has been holding you back so far. If you know this is an issue, why haven't you taken action? Well, I think it falls into a couple of broad categories. If we're looking at the blockages to decluttering, we have things like guilt feelings. Perhaps you have been bequeathed an item and you don't really care for it, but you would feel guilty to get rid of it. So that's a possible blockage. But I want to counter that fiction that you tell yourself with some facts. Okay, and that this is a no judgment zone. I'm not here to criticize you. It's really just about the stories we tell ourselves have so much power that if we can change that story, we can change the result, right? You do the same thing, you get the same results. You change what you're doing, change what you're thinking, and that leads to powerful impact. So really, rather than imbuing that item with guilty feelings or it becomes like a receptacle of your memory of that person, why not just really evaluate it in terms of how it either adds or subtracts to your life now? Isn't that far more important? You're not being disrespectful to Aunt Joan to get rid of her antique that doesn't really suit your style or doesn't suit your lifestyle. That's not disrespectful. You remember her, you value her, but you can let go of whatever that is. Sentimental attachment. This is very similar. And I have to tell you that I am guilty as charged. I had, because I am a reformed preschool macaroni art collector of my 4 daughters. And I literally had boxes of things for them. And not all of it weathers well. Macaroni art doesn't really last 20 years. I'm just going to tell you. So we think again that those things are somehow going to capture that good time in our past, whether that is like tchotchkes from that you've collected over your travels, or the macaroni art, or whatever it is, the certificates. I had one client who every single year for 20 years won a sales award from their office and got a plaque, and was very reluctant to get rid of those plaques. Just a little plaque. And yet they didn't want to give it up because this was kind of them at their career heyday. But you know what I suggested is that if it's really that important to you, one of the things we did was we took off the little badges and we kept one of the plaques and we kind of reconfigured it to put all the little badges on it. So that's a way of not eliminating those sentimental items, but reducing them down. The other thing, of course, is taking photographs and keeping those on your phone and then putting them into a photo book. And then you've got the actual, all of them collected down into a very compact space. So there are solutions. We just have to be able to think out of the box a bit. And literally it is the box. It's the box of the preschool macaroni art. Okay, I move on. You might need it someday. Now, this is another thing that seems at first to be quite rational, quite logical. We don't want to waste money. We don't want to have to repurchase it in the future should we need it. But I'm going to say that probably 85% of the time, if you haven't used it in the last year, you're not going to use it, right? So assign a timeline to that. Say, okay, if by this time next year, I haven't used that whatever, get rid of it. And you could actually start doing this now as we are changing over our seasonal clothing. If you didn't wear it in the winter, get rid of it. It obviously wasn't one of the things that you enjoyed wearing. And we tend to reuse 20% of the clothes, 80% of the time, that kind of rule there. What is it called? The Pareto principle. We want to just let that go. And so if you do need it, let me just reassure you that we are all attractive, successful, affluent people by the world standard for sure. We can go out and repurchase it if we truly actually need it because we have given it away prematurely. But I'm going to tell you, I walked into so many homes that have a little pile of lumber that's all the different molding and baseboards and shelves. It always seems to be beside the furnace. And I go in and people say, oh, we're just hanging on to that in case we need it. They never do need it. They absolutely never do. Or the little jar of screws of different sorts that have been collected. They don't need it. They don't use it. And yet it's taking up literally valuable real estate. So let's get that going, and off it goes. And then this is very similar to that pragmatic issue of thinking, well, I spent good money on it. I really hear this in connection with brown furniture. And I have my own story of brown furniture. When we were first married, we didn't have any furniture. We literally moved into an empty house, save a bed and a couch that our friends left us. And we saved and we scrimped and we purchased a beautiful mahogany Duncan Fife dining room set in the very best style that 1992 could purchase. But I'm telling you, we've used it. And if we've used it and it served its natural life's purpose, well, then we should be able to let it go. Just like we would say of a car that had 200,000 miles on it, that car doesn't owe me anything. Well, neither does your brown furniture. You got the use out of it. You're not using it currently. We don't have the big family gatherings we used to. So again, the theme is let it go. It has served its purpose, and now why not sell it or donate it and let somebody else derive the benefit from having that. Just because you spent good money on it, it's not a good enough reason to keep it. It isn't, because the cost of maintaining it is higher than its actual value to your life. Let me just say that again. I like that. I like the things that come out of my mouth occasionally. That one is important. The cost of maintaining it is greater than the value it brings to your life. I think that goes for most of what we're going to be talking about today. So we don't want to let negative emotions or even positive emotions be what's driving us. We have to think of things a little bit more rationally and really just evaluate them on an item by item basis. So that's one set of problems that I hear often. And then we also have some people who really love surrounding themselves with luxury items. And that's not wrong if it's not influencing the decisions you have to make going forward. So whether or not it is crystal or tchotchkes, it's still clutter. And it doesn't matter if it's gold clutter or paper clutter, it's all clutter. And you're paying too high of a cost. You find comfort in your possessions. Now, I've seen this time and time again. People who grew up in the Depression or post-war and really, you know, their childhoods were marked by scarcity. Now they look around and they feel comfort knowing that they've got everything they need. Well, you're always going to have everything you need. And no matter what you feel like, those possessions don't give you security. And really, if we want to keep growing as individuals and make sure that our future is bigger than our past, we really have to take this in hand and say that we're going to have to get uncomfortable for a little bit. I want you, I have this written down, and this is for myself. Please don't think I'm not somehow got a bad case of affluenza as well. But I say to myself, I want to do something today that makes tomorrow easier. So this is going to be a little bit of discomfort for the sake of a benefit in the future. You consider it an investment. Well, sadly, most of what we consider an investment is not the bargain or not the investment that we think it is. There are some exceptions, and we will deal with that in part 2. There are things that actually do have residual value that might surprise you, but for the most part, let it go. They aren't what people expect. And plus, I'm going to say, God forbid something should happen to you, your estate has to deal with it. And their knowledge of its actual intrinsic value is very limited, I imagine. So if you have an expensive coin collection or stamps or solid state electronics like hi-fi equipment, any of the things that actually do have value, you're better to cash out now, because otherwise your estate might be settling for pennies on the dollar, which I know would upset you. So get rid of it now so you can actually use the money that's there for your pleasure and your lifestyle now. You are saving it for family. Oh my word. If I had $1 for every time I heard this, this is the number one thing that people say to me. And I have said this to myself too. The rocking chair that I had my babies, I think it's got like 200,000 miles on it, or the cradle that was beside our bed when they were newborns. I was saving these things, and they said to me, "Ma, we don't want it. We don't want it. It's not safe. It's not up to code. None of us has room for it." So here's my advice to you. Ask them, have the question. Do they know? Do they know that you are saving this for them? Number 2, do they even want it? Even more prevalent are the fact that we think our kids want things and they actually don't. They're not collectors. like we were or our parents were. They don't put that kind of effort into collecting material wealth. They are much more about experiences. And so a lot of times they don't want it. But if they do, what's the retrieval plan? How are they going to come and pick it up? When are they going to come and pick it up? So make sure you have those conversations. It doesn't matter what that plan is, but make sure you're not presuming that they want something that they really don't want. So there are other personal reasons, and each of us is an individual. So maybe you don't fall within these 8 categories, but regardless, what would you say to a friend who said the same thing to you? If somebody said to you the same excuse you're giving yourself, what would you say? That's a really great exercise for lots of things in life, but this one in particular. So when we eliminate our blockage to declutter, we take that fiction that we're telling ourselves and we transplant a fact in its place. And that can really help us with the emotional aspect of decluttering. We'll get to the practical aspects in a couple of minutes, but that emotional blockage is the first step for a lot of people, coming to terms with the reality of their situation and really acknowledging it for what it is. Yes, this is what I hear so often. One day, Cheryl, all this will be yours. And do you remember what I asked you about this? Do they know? Do they want it? And when are they coming for it? So if you do nothing else on this decluttering journey with me, please have that conversation. You know what I really want for our 25th anniversary, Harold? A dumpster. Yes. Would that not be just the best feeling in the world? Just to have a dumpster in the driveway and you could just go through and sort it. Oh my goodness. There's a dumpster at my neighbor's house and that says to me, big renovation. And I think I want a dumpster too. Okay, so let's get down to business now. We have understood that this is a problem, that we're paying too high of a cost. We've come to terms with some of the things that are holding us back, but how do we move forward? Well, I have been using this metaphor of a battle plan, because really it is a battle plan. The enemy we've identified as clutter. We've heard the lies the enemy clutter is telling us, and now we are going to be able to take back some territory, and we do need a strategy. It didn't all arrive one day. Like you didn't wake up and say, oh my gosh, the clutter fairies were here and now my basement and garage are filled. No, it came to you gradually over time, like the sands of time invading your basement. And now we're going to have to kind of do the same in reverse. We're going to reverse engineer this. So the first thing, whenever we are studying the great military generals of the past, is that they always had a plan. They always prepared ahead of time. And sometimes the strategizing was weeks, months, even years. I'm not, let's not get carried away here on this metaphor. We just need a week or two to kind of get everything together. So first of all, we want to start strong. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that by putting a date on the calendar. Maybe it is the beginning of next month, and we are going to say, okay, decluttering starts this day. It's D-Day on the calendar. Why? Because we know that when you actually institute a start time, you have a much greater chance of following through with that good intention. The other thing you can do is you can give notice to the people around you. Now, this could be finding an accountability partner, somebody who will hold you to that start date. Maybe it's getting your spouse on board and cooperating with you. That could possibly be it. It might also be about giving notice to the people in your life who are using your home as unpaid storage. So I'm thinking of the adult children. Yes, so they leave and their stuff stays somehow. So let's give them notice that the lease on mom and dad's basement for storing your hockey junk is coming to an end. And you really need to make other arrangements because it's really important to us that we start preparing for, you know, a happier future. So giving them the moral or practical reason why their stuff has to go really will help them jump on board. Okay, so give notice to the people around you that this is your intention and explain to them the reason why. Now we're also going to gather our supplies. You don't go into battle without your weapons. And in this case, our weapons are those big, heavy-duty contractor garbage bags from Home Depot. You can order them online and go pick them up. And they're great because they count as one garbage bag, but they can hold all those scraps of lumber behind the furnace or the things that would otherwise poke and perforate. Get those out. You can also get the extra garbage bag tags from the city. I also like to get some disposable cartons for things that I want to donate. I don't need them back. And then I love clear totes with a lid on them so that as you pick things up, you've got a place to sort them into, okay? This is all really important. A Sharpie marker, some packing tape, some masking tape for labeling, all of these things. So you gather up your supplies, and then I also want you to spend some time imagining what it's going to be like to live in a newly decluttered home. Now we've talked about the cost. Well, let's just flip that on its head, that you are going to have more peace of mind. You're going to enjoy your environment. You might be able to start socializing again when that's available to us. Never having to feel embarrassed or giving, you know, apologies. Plus, if it means that you can take the next step in your real estate life, or maybe you can think now more seriously about downsizing, you could see some very significant financial benefit. So there's lots of things that can help to motivate you to be the carrot, not just the stick. Make sense? You with me so far? Okay, so here's where we get going. We have put it on the calendar. We've given notice. Our kids have made a plan to come get their junk. I was going to use another word. We've gotten our contractor garbage bags, everything that we need. Now, how do we start? We're standing at the edge of the basement and we're looking into it and we're going, holy moly, that is a wall, a wall. How am I going to chip away at this wall? Well, first of all, we're going to do it in small increments of time. We espouse the Pomodoro method. This is a tried and true practice that was developed by an efficiency expert, and it's called the Pomodoro method for the little tomato timer, literally the kitchen timer that looks like a tomato. So we talk about doing especially unpleasant tasks in 25-minute increments as a way of countering that kind of procrastination. That's what clutter has become. It's not an organization problem. It's not a space problem. It's a procrastination problem. So by setting a timer for 25 minutes, you know it's not arduous. It's not an all-day session. It's one stint, and then we're going to repeat that 2 or 3 times a week even. You'll start to see results that are really impressive. I liken it to getting in shape or any other kind of goal. There is no instant satisfaction in this process, but small increments will help to make that change over time. Like if you were training for a marathon, you wouldn't get all your fitness sessions into one day because you'd never walk again. You wouldn't be able to move the next day. And that's the same thing here. We don't want this to be such hard work that you never do it. 25 minutes, maximum productivity, focus, no distractions. You've got all your resources with you. You've got all your supplies. And now we are going to chunk territory. While your motivation is high, while your intention is good, while your resolution is there, we suggest you start in the area that needs the most attention. Is that your garage? Is that your basement, your craft room, your workshop? What is it? Start there, because it really is so gratifying to see the progress. if you kind of diddly do all around the place, it's like going on a diet, but only denying yourself French fries and ice cream, right? It's like you're suffering, but nothing is changing. So I don't want that for you. I want you to maybe work, but also see the benefit. Okay, so we do say chunk the territory. Stick to where you are really needing the help the most until it's about 80% done. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be about 80% done, because it seems like that last 20%, no matter what it is you're doing, is always the hardest, isn't it? Like you pull out the sweaters from the cupboard and there's just that remnant and you're not sure what to do with it. So that's fine. You can come back and do that another time. But for the time being, we're going to stick in that room that needs your help the most. And it may be time to call in reinforcements. I know that it's really tough right now with COVID, and there are so few of us who feel comfortable having our family near us, but very soon, very soon, we are going to have people in our sphere who are inoculated, and we can invite in to help us with this. Maybe it's just you need somebody to help you with that accountability, or to carry heavy boxes out to the van so that you can donate it, or whatever it is. This is the time in your life where it's okay to ask for help. You need some help in your family. It doesn't have to be a big ordeal. It can just be, hey, come on over and help me with these boxes, and let's have a socially distanced dinner on the patio or the balcony or whatever it is. Okay, so you have people who you can call on, and if you don't, then there are tons of companies, believe it or not, because this is such a big issue for so many people. There are professional organization companies now that will come in, and they don't have any of the emotional ties to your stuff, and they can just come right in and help you tickety-boo. Or maybe it's a matter of hiring a grandkid to help you with an online sale of your things, right? There are so few jobs out there right now for our youth that throwing a bit of money their way, or splitting the cost of whatever, like a commission for anything that they help you sell online, I know they'd be so grateful. And you'd get rid of it, and they'd get a few coins in their mad money funds. So that could be a really good solution. So you can pay for help. You can hire mercenaries who will come in and help you fight the battle. You don't have to do this alone. Either through friends, family, professionals, there is help for you. And I really want you to think again about that positive outcome, that I want you to have your best life, that you're going to experience less but better, and that you're going to make the choice to be free from the clutter, free to do what you want to do in your future, free not to have to keep a home that doesn't suit you, free to take advantage of this hot real estate market, whatever that looks like to you. I want you to be free from clutter so that you can be free to live your best life. Okay, so next week, we're going to drill down, and we're really going to go continue our battle plan by launching campaign Divide and Conquer. Okay, so we've got the overall battle plan, and now we're getting to a specific campaign. And I really would encourage you to come back. We're going to do this again, same time, same place, same bat channel, and we'll help you with that. But in the meantime, if you are watching from Zoom or from Facebook Live and you would like a copy of our 30-day, nope, wrong one, our Decluttering Battle Plan. This is the guidebook that I wrote to accompany this webinar. It reiterates everything that I've said today. It brings it to you in a nice little booklet. We can either mail you a hard copy, or we can send you by email a soft copy. We just need you to ask for it, and we're happy to send it to you, okay? And there's there's never a cost or an obligation. That's not what we're here about. We're here to give you the help you need, whatever that looks like. So there is a 30-day decluttering challenge that we've also instituted, and this is a task a day for 30 days that are small, 25-minute little tasks that give you some inspiration, some tips, but it's a way of getting started when that wall of the basement is just too much. So have a look at what it looks like. It's like a, I just heard this, it's called a Gantt chart. I never heard that word before, but this idea that there's this way of tracking your progress, even including some reward days, okay? So we're happy to send that out to you. Again, you can email me, you can message me, you can visit our website, which is smartrealtysolution.com, and we'll get you set up with that, okay? So we're just having a ton of positive response on this. It's been really a popular offering because people are looking to optimize their home environment, and this is a great way to get started, okay? You can join with a friend, you can encourage them, encourage each other, and see the benefit by the end of the month. We also, this is so exciting. This has been something that's been in the works for months. We did this again previously in October. It was a huge success. Many of us are cluttered with paper that we've been holding on. In my case, it was since university. Yeah, so I purged all my university notes and my teaching supplies. And we are going to have a community shredding event. We're doing this all safely, socially distanced, in Markham on May 29th. And we are signing people up for time slots where you can bring your shredding, no charge, no cost, but we are using this as a way to raise funds for the CHATS organization, which we know does really great work throughout York region and helping support seniors in their homes. So that's a great opportunity for you to come get your papers shredded and also support people in need who are a bit older. So I love this, a win-win. Don't worry about your staples or your paper clips. There's this huge truck. You can watch it being shredded, and there's no concerns about security or safety because we've been doing this. We did this before and it was a big success, okay? So please reach out to us and we will make sure you get your shredding appointment, okay? So we are at the 37-minute mark of me talking. I hope you have found this inspirational. I just want to remind you that there is a second part next week that we will be doing on Wednesday at 1 p.m. And we're going to just really get down to brass tacks and making that happen for you. So are there any questions, any comments? Would you like us to send you our workbook or the 30-day decluttering challenge? Here's your chance to speak up or forever hold your pieces of paper. Okay, so that's it for now. You can reach us at there's lots of different ways to reach us, but we are all over the social media, as you know, Facebook, Instagram, our website. You can email me, text me. Many of the people who are watching are already my Facebook friends, so feel free to DM me, direct message me, and we'll make sure you get those resources because we just love coming from contribution and helping with any of your future needs or current needs. Okay, anything else? Okay, well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today, Melissa and I. We love doing these events, and we hope that you will spread the word, help us to share the decluttering good news, and that you'll be back next week for us as we work on some of those campaigns that I promised you. Campaign, divide, and conquer. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to say bye for now. Bye. Thank you.